Hello and welcome everybody. J-Man back for some more music reactions. I hope you're all having a good day out there, whatever day it is for you. We are going to be doing a reaction to one of the Nightwish songs off of the new album, Yesterwynde. Had a little bit of a blank moment there, forgive me. This request comes from Narcissus. It's for Antikythera Mechanism, which when I went and tried to find the song on YouTube, I saw the reference to what this really is talking about, which is something that I had seen really quick little blurbs about. It's like a 2,000-year-old mechanism, Greek mechanism that was found in a shipwreck, believed to be something sort of like the first analog computing device kind of a thing. And their best guess is that this was used for like astronomical predictions, tracking of the movements of the stars and planets, and being able to determine when there were going to be eclipses and things like that. So very cool, very interesting. Like I said, I had heard it when it was on the news back in the day. Never did really dig super deep into it, but very much falls in line with what I was talking about in my last video with the new Nightwish stuff. Seems like Tuomas has gone through a little bit of a shift from more metal stuff. Definitely, there was a little bit of a storytelling element to what Tuomas did, but the last couple albums very much feel like Tuomas is doing a lot more of retelling of stories of things that happened in the past or current events, things like that. More of a cultural activist or something like that is coming out in Tuomas, and very interesting to see. So I'm looking forward to checking this out. If you do enjoy the music, please, links to the original video will be down in the description below. Go over and like the video, subscribe to Nightwish, show them some love. I'm a huge Nightwish fan. They gave me my big break here on YouTube. They're what put me on the map. The YouTube arm, or the Nightwish Army, was what put me on the map. So much love to Nightwish Army and to Nightwish the band. I instantly became a huge Nightwish fan. I love what they do. So I'm sure I'm gonna like this. But let's go ahead and let's check this out. Get my headphones on here. Get ready to rock. So here we go. Nightwish, the Antikythera Mechanism. Let's get it. Troy. Okay, quick pause here. 2 minutes and 33 seconds in. So yeah, this is definitely kind of right in the wheelhouse of like the last album, Nightwish. I'm sorry, Nightwish fans, I am having a huge blank on the name of the last album. It's my Swiss cheese brain. It's not because I'm not a fan of Nightwish, but the older I get, the worse that gets. Things that I should know. You'd have trouble getting my own name out of me at the wrong times, just the way that my brain works. But um, yeah, very much in line with the modern stuff by Tuomas. I feel the musicality, sort of that chugging, sort of bass line and things like that. Very cool. I definitely like that little breakdown section. But talking about what they're talking about here, like I said, not only talking about the Antikythera mechanism, but also talking about some of the things that were going on back then, about 2,000 years ago. The burning of the library, that's ringing a bell for me. That's the I forget, there was the old library that got burnt with that had like all of the records of like history and stuff, that got burnt back around that time. I am a pretty big history fan. But again, Swiss cheese brain is getting in the way of remembering the name of that library or where that library was. But yeah, very cool. I like the imagery. I like the melody, the melodic flow of the song. Of course, Floor's voice, huge fan of Floor and anything that she does. She could sing the phone book and I would be a fan of it. But we also got, I think, a little bit of Troy in there. So yeah, enjoying it a lot. Let's go ahead and back it up a smidge and we'll finish her out. Alexandria, the Library of Alexandria. A little chaotic. These people look more like Mayan or Aztec. Okay, the spinning is a little unsettling. Whoop. All right. Yeah, let's talk about it a little bit. So yeah, that was very cool. Again, somebody over on Twitch, what was their last album? What was the name of their last album? Um, I'm having a brain damage moment. All that's on their homepage is Yesterwynde, talking about Yesterwynde. Um, Human Nature. Thank you. Just brain fart, big old brain fart. This reminds me so much of the stuff from Human Nature, right? It's got that vibe to it. Um, the couple of other single releases that I had heard from Yesterwind did have a slightly different vibe, but this one definitely harkens back to Human Nature for me. Yeah, I feel like there's a uh, more than like social commentary. This falls more into that line of Tuomas's interest in like science and history. Seems like he's a big buff or fan of that kind of stuff. The imagery I was seeing with the people in the video definitely, I would say, were probably Mayan. Right, Mayans were the first to do celestial tracking and things like that. And there's a word that I'm looking for again that my brain is failing to grasp. But plotting the stars and things like that. The first ones credited with that were the Mayans. So even though this Antikytheran mechanism was Greek, we think it was Greek. It seems like Tuomas was focusing more in the video on like the Mayans. That would be my guess. That's what the people look like to me. So yeah, very cool time in history when we started learning that. I feel like that's when we learned that we weren't the center of everything. There were these things that were up in the sky that we used to think were like pinpricks in the fabric of the sky. And there was just light shining through the fabric that was the sky, the way that the Bible describes, what we see above us in the heavens, to understanding that, hey, these are freaking objects out there. These are other planets and solar systems and galaxies and all of this stuff. And, really, I feel like that prompted us to start thinking about our place in the universe and how maybe we're not the center of it all. The early thoughts were, with the church, right? Galileo was jailed for proposing the idea that everything didn't revolve around the earth. We thought the earth was static and in the center and everything was revolving around it. Of course, we know now that that's not the case. We revolve around the sun. The sun revolves around the giant, massive black hole at the center of our galaxy. The galaxy is constantly expanding outward. All of this stuff. So yeah, very cool time. I feel like in human history where we started to learn that, hey, we're not the super important center of the universe beings that we thought we were. That we're just a little tiny piece of this massive universe that we're a part of. And maybe we're not the only universe. Maybe there are multiple universes out there and all of that stuff. So that's the kind of things that this video, that's the thought that this video provoked for me. So yeah, I thought it was very cool. Definitely liked it. Some really cool musicality going on there. We had some choral stuff with a choir this sounded like more of an adult choir rather than like the children's choir that Tuomas is a fan of using. Some orchestral bits in there, along with the kind of metally, rocky sort of stuff that Tuomas does. So yeah, really enjoyed that. I like that a lot. Thanks for the recommendation, Narcissus. Hope you enjoyed the reaction. Those of you out there, if you did enjoy this music, please go over like the song, subscribe to Nightwish. Links to the original video will be down in the description below. Do me a favor, throw me a like, and subscribe if you would. Hit that bell notification. Really does wonders for helping to grow my channel. I'm really getting really close to 6,000 subscribers. And that's big thanks to all of you out there. I appreciate all of you for dropping by, checking out my stuff and all of that. So hope you all have a good rest of your day. Hope we see you on the next one. Till then, peace.